I have a book on my shelf about how to get married within 1 month. It's more than 100 pages long. If I were to write that book, I would only need 1 page with this one sentence: lower your standards. There is no trick to getting married in 30 days. If you lower your standards, anyone, can get married quickly. Most of us, however, want to get married to the right person at the right time in the right way. Assuming that is what you want, you will need some healthy criteria to help you determine what to look for in a lifelong spouse. So this book is for you. I want to help people choose the right marriage partner. I want people to avoid divorce. Dating someone and then breaking up is painful and can be scarring. But sadly, breakups are not the only potential for pain. Marriage brings fulfillment, unless you choose the wrong person. A wrong choice in a marriage partner can mean a long, painful, unfulfilled marriage and even potentially a divorce. In other words, it can mean hell on earth. A high percentage of people get divorced today, between 20 and 39%, depending on the demographic. Would you get on an airplane with your spouse and children if you knew there was a 20 to 39% chance that the plane would crash? But what if there were a way to improve your chances and fly without that high crash risk? I wrote this book to increase your chances of finding a long, fulfilling marriage and to prevent a painful, unnecessary divorce. Whether you're in college or you're an older adult, whether you are currently dating someone and thinking about marriage, or you've been divorced and are thinking about how to choose better next time, this book is for you. You may even want to give it to someone else to read or use it in a group and discuss the issues presented. You'll find discussion starter questions at the end of each chapter for use in a group or for your own personal reflection. People who have applied the principles in this book to their search for a life partner have experienced a drastically lower divorce rate. Only 9.5% got divorced over the last 20 years. I know this because out of the 261 singles who married during or soon after the time of my singles ministry, only 25 had divorced 20-plus years later. That equals 14 divorces out of 143 marriages. An approximate 9% divorce rate is nearly 110% better than the best national statistical average and more than 300% better than the high end of the scale. But alas, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's look at the terrain of probabilities and challenges. In order to fully appreciate the need for a practical course in selecting a spouse, you have to understand the high degree of difficulty in having a marriage that lasts a lifetime. It is true that depending on the demographics of a population, ethnicity, age, finances, location, and so on, 20 to 39% of marriages end in divorce. And if it's your second or third marriage, there's a higher probability that you may divorce. A marriage that remains intact, even in the face of physical violence or emotional and verbal abuse, can be torturous. And for some who stay in a bad marriage, silence due to incompatibility can almost be as bad as physical or verbal abuse. So choosing the wrong spouse and staying in a bad marriage is painful, even without the hurt and devastation of divorce. Therefore, it is critical to choose the right spouse. This book is primarily practical in nature. No lofty principles or head-in-the-cloud ideas, just the nitty-gritty of courtship and marriage. If you are a Christian, you can pray and hope that God will lead you to the right person. But if you are not practical in your search, all the prayer in the world might not do any good. We can't be so idealistic and heavenly minded that we're of no earthly good. To be sure, the current concept of dating is a relatively new phenomenon